Olin, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, guys. Good morning. Wanted to get that game behind us. An old football player like me worries there's going to be a letdown, but Chicago Bears say, don't worry about it. We got it. The Pigeons showed up to help block people. I guess Jaquan Brisker, when he does that thing, I guess he's calling them to the field to help out. But fun to watch Chicago Bears beat up on the Cleveland Browns, young quarterback, rookie, make him make mistakes, takeaways, see the offense move the ball, put the ball in the end zone, and now here we are, guys late in the year, which I didn't think with this football team going into the year with a brand new coach. Playing, I heard you guys talk about this game could probably will be for the NFC North. Who would have thought?
Yeah, pretty extraordinary when you look at also Green Bay managing to lose a game, losing Micah Parsons. There's a belief that it was a non contact injury to his left knee, probably an ACL. They haven't verified that yet, but that's the fear in Green Bay. And Christian Watson hurt in that game as well. A lot of things happened that were positive for the Bears, and I don't celebrate people getting hurt or anything like that, but they will now be a significantly damaged opponent compared to how good they were on Black Friday.
Yeah, and Elton Jenkins, they're really good center, probably their best offensive lineman already out. I think Zach Tom went down for a little while yesterday. Their right tackle, really good football player, gives Montez Sweat fits. So we'll see how he's doing, right? So they're already losing some of those guys, and now you lose Micah Parsons, your big trade, and kind of reminds me of 2006 when we went to the Super Bowl when we lost Tommy Harris and Mike Brown, two all-pro football players. I'm sure the Packers think they still have enough guys. Their speed receiver Christian Watson also goes down tomorrow, but
Yep.
obviously, like you're talking, I mean, yesterday, but like you're talking about, very different team, right? Especially without Micah Parsons. We talked about how Coach Johnson called Nick Herbig and T.J. Watt for the Steelers werewolves. This guy was the alpha werewolf, right? This guy was, he was constant pressure and he was getting after the Bears in the first game, made a big difference in that football game. So when you lose a guy like that, anybody, any team, lose a player like that, man, it's going to hurt your team, and you're going to be a different team when you show up the next week.
Myles Garrett played 53 of 66 snaps, 80% of the action. He had a sack and a half, and yet I don't believe he had as big of an impact on this game as maybe Micah Parsons did the previous week against the Bears offensive line. He didn't have a sack, but the Packers pressured Caleb Williams 15 times. What did the Bears do successfully to neutralize Myles Garrett?
Yeah, it's a really good question, right? And even on the first play of the game, they they pulled Jonah Jackson to him on a play action pass. Jonah Jackson tried to cut him. He got around and then Swift cut him. So they just ran the ball away from him all day. The things you want to do to a really good football player like Myles Garrett, run the ball away from him, make sure he's getting chipped. Make sure your young tackle Ozzie Trapillo is getting a lot of help over there. And Ozzie did a good job when he was one on one, or he read some blitzes and picked up Myles Garrett on stunts on the inside on one play in particular I can remember from the game. But Ben Johnson just does a really nice job, guys. As you know, and you guys watch film, everyone's raving about Ben Johnson. There's a reason, right? He does a really nice job. His system is O-line friendly. He understands where guys are. Look, when Myles Garrett went out of the game, he knew, I think we heard the commentators talk about how he had plays for when Myles Garrett was out of the football game. One of them was that pigeon play we're talking about to Burden, right? He recognizes he's out. Well, boom, let's take a shot down the field. So really neutralizing him with a lot of different looks, a lot of different blocking teams, a lot of help for the young tackle. Even the fact that, when you talk about Ben Johnson attacking people, when's the last time we heard about a cornerback like Denzel Ward being out? We leave the game where you just say, man, why didn't we attack his backup, Miles harder? Why didn't we go after 26 more? Man, you saw that guy a lot in the game. DJ Moore's touchdown was one of what the early touchdown was one of the times you saw him in the game. They went after him, they picked him, they realized where he was. Same thing with Myles Garrett, David. They know where he is at all times. They know what play call, very specific way. We're going to attack this defense when he's on or off the field. And obviously, he doesn't get to affect the game as much because it's a blowout, right? And Parsons was in a tight football game, and we had to keep trying to throw the ball and catch up to the Packers because they had the lead. This guy, man, the things he did, the things he's done this year with the year that the Browns have had has been basically unbelievable. Myles Garrett, really good football player, but like you're talking about the Bears neutralize him with a few things: blocking schemes, help, and get a big lead. And then you don't have to pass the ball late in the game, have this guy coming after your quarterback.
This segment with Olin Kreutz is sponsored by Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Olin, I asked you a question yesterday about Ozzie Trapillo, and I thought you made a really excellent point. That even,
thank you.
Well, it is a compliment. I'd like you to explain it to our audience.
Hey, David, anything Mully says I said about you is a lie, too.
See, there you go. Mully is known for lying or exaggerating. So, Olin, you said that Ozzie Trapillo, that they kept coaching him, that even when we heard that he had hit the wall as a rookie, they clearly didn't let him hit the wall during practice or whatever. Maybe it was because they thought they were making him swing tackle. I don't know. But that is one of the reasons that he's been as successful as he is, because he's grown comfortable. And what he couldn't do earlier, even at the end of camp, before the season began, now he's comfortable playing on the left side.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys who do come in, right, after injuries seem ready and prepared to make a difference in the football game. And that's one thing that hit me about Ozzie Trapillo, like you talked about. Sometimes on other teams, younger players do get forgotten, right? Once the season starts, a lot of attention has to go to the starters, the guys who are on the field. All the reps go to them usually on the first team. When you talk about reps in practice, I'm talking about the starting offense, getting prepared for the game versus the look team defense. But somebody, obviously, Coach Dan Rochar, and the coaches there, Ben Johnson, making it a point. Like, look, let's make sure we keep developing these young guys. I think you hear them talking about that. You see Ozzie Trapillo come in. And the thing that really made me say that yesterday, Mully, is when I watched the film, I see him understanding where his helps are. We always talk about how the O-line has to always work together. Little credit to Ozzie Trapillo also for paying attention in practice, paying attention in the meeting room, thinking, man, I could still get my chance there at left tackle. Because, guys, if we were hearing from the coaching staff that they don't think he's a left tackle, you better damn well be sure he heard that too. Right. And when you hear those things, I've seen a lot of players say, well, I don't play that position. Why am I going to work on it? But he did, obviously. He worked on it. He stayed focused. He stayed in the building. He practiced with intent. His football coaches, his team helped him out. And he grew into this player that we're seeing now, and a guy that you could have said, well, he could have just shut it down after he heard all the rumors that he wasn't going to be a left tackle. But, a lot of young players, right? DeMarco Jackson, another guy ready when he comes in. Think about this. We're talking about excited about Tremaine Edmonds coming back. Well, the guy who replaced him just had an interception and a sack yesterday, right? I think that was the exact play that Grote was talking about, that he'd like to see Dennis Allen run versus the young quarterback, because Jordan Love got it out right before the sack. Well, Grote said he didn't think Shedeur Sanders could do that, and he was exactly right. Basically called the blitz yesterday in that game, and DeMarco Jackson gets a sack on that play. But a lot of young players, man, stepping up, making plays. Fun to watch this football team. I think the one thing you really, really love and come away impressed about this football team is every time you turn this film on this run that's been on, man, do they compete, right? Like, the kickoff return yesterday early to start the game with Duvernay, Jonathan Owens, and Daniel Hardy, great blocks. Daniel Hardy, man, I don't know what you guys think, but maybe a Pro Bowl special teams player. So a lot of players on this team making big plays, playing good football. Ozzie Trapillo is one of them.
DeMarco Jackson, in 2 of the 4 games he's replaced Tremaine Edmonds, arguably was the Bears' best defensive player, 15 tackles against the Steelers, and then yesterday sack in an interception. And Tremaine Edmonds can come back as early as this week. And with the development of Rome Odunze going pregame and then not being active a week after Kyler Gordon did the same thing, how do you think the Bears will address or handle the Tremaine Edmonds return? And what is going on at pregame warmups that 2 weeks in a row now we're talking about players who aren't available, who go through the paces and are on the active roster?
Yeah, and good thing we get the wins there. I mean, good thing they played well against Green Bay, and then we win against Cleveland. The questions would be even bigger and louder, right? But as far as Tremaine Edmonds, with him going down, credit TJ Edwards for moving back to the weak position linebacker, DeMarco Jackson staying at the middle linebacker. I think Tremaine Edmonds, the way he was playing, the level he was playing at, even though DeMarco Jackson has played nicely here, I think you move him back. These guys come back, and then your special teams obviously get a boost by guys coming back to there, right? So your team gets stronger, but you move Tremaine Edmonds back to his linebacker spot he was playing at. I thought he was playing at a Pro Bowl level. Move TJ Edwards back to the middle of the defense so he can make the calls, move everybody around, shift everybody around, put everybody in the right spots, right? As far as the soft tissue, David, the only thing I can guess is that, maybe they're not, these guys, when you come back with soft tissue injuries, obviously when it's -10, they hurt a little more, right? So obviously the groin for Kyler Gordon, which was a little scary because they put him on IR right after. Like he hurt his play. And then, the footing on these fields, as you and Mully know, late in the year is not great, right? It's not great with the footing on those fields, and worried about that stress fracture. And are you guys, I would suggest on Friday going out in the cold and making sure they're running routes in the freezing cold, because that's what you're going to see there. But, I couldn't tell you I know what's going on there. I'm sure the player saying he can play, both players say they can play, but when it's freezing, as both games were, and the field conditions are not great. I know I saw a lot of guys, haven't watched all of the all 22 yet of this game, but a lot of guys were slipping up there in Green Bay. So the footing was not great, and you can see a groin getting injured on that kind of field, especially with the way Kyler Gordon moves and the way he bends and gets around the corner and tries to warm up. And then yesterday you heard about Rome Odunze, and a lot of us were wondering, right? Like, man, this guy's a stress fracture in his foot, but he's back already. But all of a sudden he was going to play, promised he was going to play, and then all of a sudden he was out. Sure, he went out there and said, man, I'm playing over here in a freezer, and my foot doesn't feel so damn good. So hopefully it's not as bad. Hopefully it's not on IR, but I'm sure they're going through these questions themselves this morning up there with the, 50 million people they have on their medical staff and their training staff and their weight room staff and the coaching staff. And they're talking about, man, here's one thing with everything going great, right? Everything going good. Here's one thing on Ben Johnson's plate that he showed us he could fix a lot of things scheme-wise, clock management-wise, all these things. He's a good football coach. One thing about when you're the head football coach, you're the CEO in that building, got to handle everything. Ben Johnson, I'll give him a little credit here and say he'll wrap his arms around this problem too and find a way to fix it.
Olin, I'm curious. We talked in the pregame about DJ Moore because that was a huge topic all week of the fact that you go into to Lambeau, you're needing something from somebody in the passing game, and I think he was targeted 3 times, caught 1 pass for -4 yards, and there were a couple of plays where it looked like they were plotting against the guy. I'm wondering, when you saw what he managed to do yesterday. Well, I mean, when you give the guy the ball, like while he's being tackled, it just seemed rough. Tom said he looked like he should have fumbled on that play, but he ends up with 2 touchdowns. He ends up catching 4 passes for 69. It ends up. That might have been the best game he's had with Caleb in a very long time, and there seemed to be good chemistry there. That second touchdown was extraordinary. What's your take on him moving forward? Is that all you need? Is kind of one breakthrough game to convince the quarterback to get you the ball more often?
Yeah, targeted 3 times, and that one time you're talking about where he got hit in the backfield, that was one of the targets. So really, pass-wise, he was targeted twice, right, in that game against Green Bay. And we talked about this on the pregame show that I went back and watched the All-22 and watched DJ Moore and just thought to myself, well, there's not a huge problem here. Caleb just not throwing him the ball when he's open, right? He would have had 3 or 4 catches last week too against Green Bay. So the question really should have been for Caleb last week: why didn't you throw DJ Moore the ball when he was open? What's the holdup? And I'm sure Declan Doyle and TJ Barrett and Ben Johnson asked Caleb those questions in the meeting room. Well, what did you see here that we didn't get DJ Moore the ball when we think he's open? Let's emphasize him a little more, especially with Rome Odunze out, right? Because a lot of questions went to Ben Johnson last week about why wasn't the scheme going to DJ Moore? Well, was just that, hey, listen, man, he was running good routes. Sometimes he was slipping in Green Bay like everybody else, but he is open. Even yesterday on some of the balls he caught, I thought Caleb was a touch late for a guy like DJ Moore. It's like the ball for DJ Moore, man, that ball comes out before he's out of his break. If he catches the ball early, he'll probably make his defender miss a lot of times, get you a lot of extra yards. And it's on both of them, right? I don't know if he's running the exact route. I don't know if he's at the exact depth where the quarterback wants him, but Caleb's eyes did come off him really early up there in Green Bay and not giving him chance for his route to develop. But yesterday they obviously worked on it all week. Again, Ben Johnson shows us when there's a problem that people are talking about, he sees it too, right? And they're working on it. Antoine Randall and Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle and TJ and all the coaches are working on it. Caleb, give him credit. He worked on it. Went to DJ Moore yesterday on that pass where, the one he wrote to the right, that was an amazing pass, man, over two of the Cleveland Browns starters, right? It wasn't like they were beating backups there. That was just a really good ball there. I wonder, we talked on the pregame show, did he see Grant Delpit, right? Did he layer it over that guy on the run? I mean, these are things Caleb is capable with his arm. We heard Jim Schwartz, the defense coordinator for the Browns, talk about that in pregame. It's not just that he can run around, it's that he can attack the whole field when he runs around. He did that with DJ Moore. But just, I think that it's funny to say, but they're just still getting comfortable with each other. And I don't think the week before, it wasn't that there wasn't a game plan. It wasn't that it wasn't routes. I thought that when DJ Moore was open, Caleb just didn't give him the ball the times that he was open to get the ball.
So about a minute and a half left in the first half. I think it was 3rd and 1 or 2, a short yardage situation. Caleb Williams throws deep to Zacchaeus, and that was clearly a play called from Ben Johnson. Later, I think they had 2 tight ends in the backfield, and DeAndre Swift scores a touchdown. It was a different look. I don't think we've seen. If we have, it hasn't been often. I just wondered yesterday, when you're playing an opponent like the Browns, how much did Ben Johnson go into this game thinking that if they did get a lead where they were handling things as easily as it turned out they were, would you use things to give your future opponents something to think about? How much of yesterday was a preseason to the postseason?
How fun is it to wonder that, right, David, that we're working on plays, we're working on things while we play a team that is struggling, right? We're not that team. And those are the things I wondered on 3rd and 1 when it was a shot pass to Zacchaeus. And I think that was with a minute 26 here left, right, in the first half. And we were on our own 19. So, you get the first down, you think you would run the half out. And no, not Ben Johnson, right? He's going to drop back, take a shot to Zacchaeus there. And then, on the run play, I think a lot of guys, I think when Terry Shea was here, there's a name for the pass for you in 2004. Terry Shea ran diamond formation, where it looks like a diamond in the backfield with the 2 tight ends, and they're going in different directions. Just makes the linebackers fit their run fit a little differently, brings your linebacker to you as an offensive lineman. Just a really nice design. And, of course, Swift takes a really nice cut there and takes it out to his right and scores a touchdown. But really interesting, like you're talking about, to watch the film and wonder these things. Like, okay, he went for it on 3rd and 1 there, but was it just to put something on film or to practice a route or a rep or something they really liked there in that situation in the game? And then, obviously he's watching the same game we were watching. I don't know if you guys thought, after the false start, after the 12 guys in the huddle for Cleveland, after they had the wrong wristband, I think Ben Johnson thought what we thought. These guys are not going to score more points than we're going to score.
Yeah, no question about it. Olin, thank you. Great stuff as always. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.